Welcome back, everyone, to the 12th episode of Funsie. It's been 12.
Yeah, hype, son.
Oh,
3 months? I mean, if you do the math, it's like 3 months. So, it's been a fun little ride. How you boys doing?
Dude, it's a beautiful day, and we're just talking over each other. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I got one. I have a preface. I have to say.
Go ahead.
I believe that last week I mentioned that I played in a glitch tournament, and I said that I got second or third, and I have no clue why I said that. I did not get second or third. I got seventh. So I just need to clear the air. I got called out by one of my friends.
That's funny.
Dude,
I literally don't know why I said I got second or third. I think part of it is I was only 2 strokes back of the leader, but there's like a bunch of ties. So I guess in my head.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I got
I don't know, man. I think you're trying to lie.
I honestly.
Yeah,
I'm the worst.
But yeah, Sajko, what's up with you? Anything going on?
Anything going on? No, not really. Just kind of working on a few tiny projects for another round and trying to do my stuff and our stuff when I can. And my face, I guess, did debut this week on another round, which is kind of crazy because that was not planned. It ended up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of.
Oh, you just you posted without his permission. Got it.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I had something already edited for that night, and then I went out to go play, dressed as an old man. That's just how I dress. I'm like, this looks good, and then I see it when I record, and I'm like, that looks insane. But yeah, I just had like a half decent shot with that Quake, and it happened to be their daily deal, and I was like, hey, is this something that we feel another round could benefit from? And he said, yeah, go for it. So then I did it, and then it seemed like people were fairly receptive to it. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, you can't really go into that being like, oh yeah, it's gonna blow up, it's gonna do super well. I mean, you kind of have to like prove yourself a little bit.
Totally.
But that was good. Yeah, chill weekend. Nice. Beautiful day today. How about you, Benjamin?
Just same old. Played a tournament, working on the expos.
How'd you do?
Not good. This was I started the year in a slump. I started to get out of it. I started averaging like above my rating consistently, and then this is the first tournament this month or within the past month where I shot below again. So I don't know. I'm learning. It's tough, bro. Putting's hard, guys. Putting is so hard. It just doesn't make sense to me. Just keep practicing. But I'm gonna.
Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, did you guys like my video?
Yes,
dude, I loved it. It was so good. My
that's what I did this last week.
My father-in-law was like, I haven't watched any of. He keeps calling you Jay, and I'm always like, who's Jay?
Jay.
He called you Jay, and I think he ended up watching your video for the first time this week, and he's all about it. Yeah.
Let's go. Dude,
yeah, exactly. So you got Dadder on your side.
Did you change your thumbnail midway?
I did the A/B testing.
Oh.
Yeah, we can talk about this later. We have a very special guest, don't we?
We do? Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Speaking of
bro
putting,
is waiting.
Speaking of putting, Hooligan discs. I shot them out. I putt with the dimes. They've helped me become a better putter. And here's the man behind them, Mr. Garett Prisock.
Garett,
don't be trashing the dimes. Garett Girthy, I'll take it.
I didn't trash the dimes. I love the dimes.
Almost as far if you divide it by about 4. I can throw about the same distance.
Impressive.
Yeah. He throws like Andrew Fish with his backhand. All
right,
Andrew Fish.
Okay, it's probably not even that good. So,
for someone
who
might not know you, Garett, tell us about yourself. Why you're in disc golf? How you got into disc golf?
Yeah,
give us the 1,000-foot view.
1,000-foot view. So I've been playing for about 12 years now. A little over 3 years ago, I started the discbarn.com. Right after I have a 3-year-old son. Right after he was born, I started the discbarn.com, and then grew that until that was going pretty steady. But I always had the dream of manufacturing. So a little over 2 years ago, I started Hooligan discs. So that's been going strong. We're about to release a 2-year anniversary disc, which I've been teasing a little bit. I'm pretty excited for that. But I mean, that's
I have
super.
I have a quick question. I guess maybe I could save this, but I have a question. Do you know what Hoonigan is?
Oh,
Dude,
absolutely.
you took my
Trust
question.
me. By now, I absolutely know what Hoonigan is. Yeah.
Is there what
I
is
get a lot
going
of
on
messages
there?
on that.
Yeah, set the record straight.
Set the record straight. I mean, we've just because of all the messages I've got of how similar everything is. We did change our logo to just, there's no legal infringement that was involved there, but
Okay.
I was just, I was trying to grow the company. I was so excited, and I'd wake up and open my phone. I'd be getting like hate mail from people, like, I can't believe you would do this, and all this sort of stuff. Like, even on the day we launched and everything, like, people were being so mean, and so that was just putting a damper on things. So yeah, we changed the logo. There was obviously never meant to be anything crazy there. I think the main issue is our names are so similar.
Yeah.
I've had the name Hooligan forever. I'm a coder. I love brackets a lot. So I've got a history in computer science and everything. So that's why we kept the brackets on the H logo and all that, but we took it off the main logo, but we kept the similar branding and everything like that. I love the branding. So if you're watching this and you sent me hate mail, please stop, please.
Have they like reached out or anything, or
No, not at all.
And like you're not worried about it? Like, are there trademarks or like any copyright issues or anything, or no?
No,
he changed it.
I mean,
so probably before,
I've changed it, but before
Yeah.
I talked to a couple different trademark lawyers and all that sort of stuff, and we're different industries. Selling a disc is not taking revenue away from them, so they would have no value to go pursue like damages or anything.
Yeah.
You could argue if I got really into merch sales and all that sort of stuff that maybe, but we're trying to step away from any issues like that at all.
No, totally.
Hoonigan is awesome. Their branding is cool. There's never meant to be anything there. So
no, that's what I expected. But
yeah,
I like saw the thing that said Hoonigan the other day, or maybe like a month or two ago, and I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
I was
every time somebody sees the sticker on a car, I get a Snapchat or something. It's like,
yeah. And I was like,
even though it's changed now a little bit, just because Hoonigan is, they're one letter off, basically. They still they're going to look similar almost no matter what you do, unless I put it in some like curly font or something.
Totally. But, no, I love the Hooligan brand. Sorry, that was a little bit of a derail. We can
no. I mean,
people expect that at this point. If you guys don't mind, like based off of that question, I had like one of my own questions about that.
Yeah.
So
it's
what exactly?
Interview,
oh yeah.
It's all of ours.
Right. So what exactly is your inspiration behind Hooligan's aesthetic and the branding of it? Because you kind of go for a lot more like on the nose type, or like pop culture, I guess you could call it, like things that we say a lot, like types of names and branding. So like what's the idea behind that?
So it's really hard to differentiate yourself in disc golf, right? As far as competitive advantage, you can, there's all sorts of gyro, makes the disc go farther, all sorts of stuff. But at the end of it, it's really, really hard to have it say like my disc is 100% going to fly farther than their disc, all this sort of stuff. So branding is a major, major part of it. And that's what I love, interested in, read a few books on. And, I like everything to be fun. And sorry, my son just woke up and I heard him just tell his mom he's done going to the bathroom.
That's amazing.
But yeah, you're gonna see him in this here in a minute. I'm sure he'll run in here. But I mean, so my personality and everything is all just fun and relaxed, and I don't think everything needs to be taken so seriously. A lot of companies try to take it really, really seriously, and it's all about business and all this sort of stuff. And I think branding it in a way that's more fun, more relaxed, less about just, making the largest margin as possible and being as business oriented as possible. I think Hooligan just encompasses what I'm looking for in the brand of the company and how I want to act and how I want everybody involved to act. And that's what I've seen so far. Obviously, Ben's a huge hooligan, so he doesn't seem to ever take anything serious.
Oh, for sure.
Thank you,
dude. That encompasses what I think of. Like,
good. That's what I'm going for. I hope people always picture Hooligan that way.
Like, when I think about it, like Innova, Discraft, Discmania, like all the bigger names, they've been in the sport since, way back when. And now the sport's starting to like actually grow. And so people are trying to make disc companies, and in order for them to be like a feasible, like actual company, there needs to be some kind of competitive advantage
Yep.
for them to be sustainable. Trash Pandas they make recycled disc. They were the first to do that, and like people love it. Great branding, all that. And then like you look at, I'm not gonna call anyone out, but Hooligan does it. I think Hooligan does. I think you do it very well. Like I think your brand is very cohesive, and then the idea of like throwing a yeet, like I'm yeeting a yeet, or like
it feels so
that was
good.
a dime of a putt, or like that putt was so cash. Like that's great. That's like so. Like it's Gen Z talk, but also it just appeals to everyone, and it like I mean, I've told you this already, but once you start doing yeets again, I want to make a short about it, essentially. Like,
Absolutely.
I want my hook of the short to be, well, anyone listening can steal this now, but I want me to like throw it and then like put the audio and then start talking about how it's named like a yeet, or like seeing how far I can yeet a yeet.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, we're working hard to get that one going, but being the 12 speed distance driver for every company is what a lot of people base their opinions on.
Staple.
So,
yeah.
Right.
Yep. Having to recreate that now that we've moved away from Lone Star manufacturing, I got to make sure that it flies really, really well. I don't want it to be way too overstable, but I want it to be able to fight the wind. I don't want it to be flippy at all. I want Garett Earthy, like you said, to be able to throw this as hard as he wants and not turn it into a roller. So
you need to have a yeet and then a mega yeet, and the mega yeet's like the captain's raptor.
Yeah.
It's just super overstable.
Exactly.
Wait.
Sort of thing.
So you just mentioned about switching away from Lone Star at first, and switching to new manufacturer. Just tell us more about that, I guess, process and from start to finish manufacturing Lone Star and then switching, and how that's kind of been for the company and brand and so.
Yeah. So my dream was
before you say that, I want to add on to his question. Talk about how you wanted to make discs and then how you figured out how to make discs, start there and then go all the way till now. So you may have to talk for a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, not a problem at all. The dream was always to manufacture from the beginning. The disc farm was a lot easier to start, just being that a retailer, you get a tax ID in Texas, super easy, and then you can apply to be a retailer, and that's, started with Discmania. But I always wanted to be a manufacturer. Obviously, machines are expensive. I looked into all of that, but even more than being expensive, they're really hard to do. It's not like, a lot of people are like, let's just buy machines and let's just go to town. I'm sure since, you talked to Jesse from Trash Panda, that that's not quite that easy. But so I've actually called a few companies, all that sort of stuff, but it was during COVID, right? Everybody's maxed out capacity. Some people wouldn't answer your phone calls. People just laughed if they're like, we're not making any extra discs for anybody else. I called a few local manufacturing companies here in Dallas that make other types of plastics. But discs are actually pretty hard to make. They're not, especially what we want when we want them to be aesthetically pleasing and all that sort of stuff. It's not just straightforward, just make a green, make it hard, make it durable. There's flexes, there's additives, all that sort of stuff. So it was definitely difficult finding somebody. And then when I was playing the Piney Woods Open, I don't know if you've played that or not, Josh, but playing that, there was a guy on my card that worked at Lone Star Discs. He was there, and he's no longer there anymore, but he was like, well, I worked for a company called Lone Star, and he handed me some of their discs. They were still pretty early in the process and all that. And I was like, well, I'm looking for somebody to manufacture. They're in Texas, and so that works out really, really well. They're about 3 hours from my house. So he gave me the owner, Terry's phone number, called them, took a trip down to Lone Star, and we talked it all out, talked prices and how they manufacture and everything. And it was actually fairly easy once you got a partner in it. You just got to get somebody you trusted at the time and make sure that it was all going to work out. But that's how that started. I mean, it was literally playing a tournament. It was all luck. Somebody on my card happened to work there, and I'd been working for probably 6 months at the time to try to find a manufacturer, and then it just fell into my lap. So that was great. As you know, Lone Star kind of blew up because they blew up as in took off. They were taking over. They were everywhere. It's everything you ever saw. So they ran into the same issue where they're making so many discs. It was really hard for them to make my discs and all that. So I kind of got the back burner, which was really hard to grow for me, but there was a lot of benefits working with them. They did a lot of great stuff for us, but I'm trying to grow really, really fast. I've got a full-time job, so I'm able to do really low margins and try to expand as quickly as possible. So, once they got going really, really quick, and then there was obviously some bad PR and all this sort of stuff, and I'd been looking for some way to get more control over what I was doing, quicker turnarounds, all that sort of stuff. Gateway called me and they were like, "Hey, we've got some capacity," and they offered me a lot of really cool stuff that Lone Star just couldn't quite offer me as far as controllability. We can make this plastic exactly how you want it. We can do whatever additives you want. We can make it flexy, gummy, stiff. They call you right before they run it, all that sort of stuff. They sent me a bunch of samples. Like most people, I haven't thrown Gateway in years, and so the old Gateway, some of it was good, but never anything that was like, I need them to manufacture for me. But then they sent me some of their new stuff, and it was their NXT plastic that they have. All that sort of stuff is just amazing. If you haven't tried it, everybody needs to try it. It's really good stuff, really durable, feels amazing, flies really good. Their new drivers are really good. So they didn't even really have to convince me with words. They just sent me the discs, and I was like, "Man, your plastic's so good." Their tooling had gotten so much better, and they've got to have, I don't know, 50 or 60 different blends. So the ability to do what we want
was there
skyrocketed.
Was there any thoughts about buying an injection molding machine now that you had finally established yourself as a disc manufacturer that can sell discs at a regular pace?
Yeah, a little bit. I still didn't know how to manufacture them myself, but there was a company in Dallas I talked to, and that was the route I was going to go when I was leaving Lone Star. I went and toured a facility, and they actually had made discs in the past, back in the 90s or early 2000s, and so they had a little bit of experience with it, and that's what I was going to do. But taking my molds there, they didn't really have the experience of how to manipulate those molds to work in their machines. It was getting really complicated, and then just I would love to buy my own machines. I really would, but with the demand we have right now, I didn't see it as a feasible option. I still want to do it in the future.
You kind of have to do what Trash Panda did, where you'd have to you'd essentially have to quit your job, take 3 or 4 months to literally just learn everything you can about plastic, injection molding. And then on top of that, you couldn't just do it yourself. You'd have to, it's a lot of money and a lot of time that you'd have to commit to it. And so it'd be risky. I mean, I think Hooligan could do it, but I understand the appeal of there's other options, and maybe you do it in a few years from now,
Yeah. And my vision, as far as the way I like to run the business, is there's always someone smarter than me. So I would rather, if I bought an injection machine and all of that, hire somebody that knows what they're doing, that has experience in it, jump over that learning curve and have them control that. So if the finances were good enough and we had enough sales, that I would just hire somebody to do that for me that knows how to do it better than me, versus me trying to figure it all out. Obviously I want to learn. I flew out to Gateway, and Dave McCormick showed me all their machines, let me run discs, showed me how they blend everything. And I have a pretty good understanding and a fairly good confidence that, I could learn it. I assume, you saw Jesse and he's learning it. There's just so much variability in making a disc. There's so many, such a learning curve. Even right now with Dave, when he's running stuff, he's like, "Hey, the mold got hotter, it got cold, and that changed this. So I had to change the flow." And it's like, that just takes experience. It's not like you can just read it in a book and figure it out. You just have to trial and error. So I think the better path, if I bought machines, was going to be to maybe hire Jay Milley or somebody that may know something.
Sounds good.
Dude, I do not have the capacity nor the wherewithal to run an injection mold machine all the time.
Yeah, I know. It takes a mad scientist, and Dave McCormick is a mad scientist.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, this is just a statement, so you can go ahead after. But yeah, I was in the same boat when you told me you were kind of looking at Gateway. I was like, Gateway, they'd have in the past they've had some plastic that just is like rock solid and like warped and on shelves. And I've just been like, but ever since you started working with them at Hooligan, you know, I've completely changed my mind 100%. Like all the discs feel incredible. They're literally up to par with some of the top manufacturers, especially your Primo plastic, which and especially in the cash, it just feels like it's like Star to me. It doesn't feel any different. And the dimes, obviously Gateways was always known for their putting plastic, like their Wizards. That was like the top of the line. So the dimes, now that you have the same kind of plastic as that, it's you know, I've really come around and be like, wow, they're incredible. And maybe you could talk about more about how like the blends you're using aren't even kind of used by Gateway. Like it's kind of like your own blend. I think that's important too, because people probably think like you're just using. Yes, I love that.
Nice.
Put with a diamond rim. People probably think you're just using like exactly kind of like a Innova using, or Discmania using Innova Star, or DGA using ESP. No, it's not that at all. It's different blends. They're just manufacturing it for you.
Yeah, very different. And that's, you know, one thing that we you know, try to educate people on. It's kind of hard. Obviously with Lone Star, we did have a few shared molds and we had a few separate molds, but all the plastics were, you know, Alpha was Alpha, Alpha Flex was Bravo, you know, they're the exact same. But with going over to Gateway, I made it clear, you know, I want to be different. You know, you're manufacturing for me, but that doesn't mean I'm just using everything that you've already got. So none of our molds are going to be shared molds with Gateway. None of them. I mean, they may be tops and bottoms from a couple of them, but they're not going to be identical molds by any means. They're going to be even possibly retooled molds or completely brand new molds. We're working on all of that, especially with the Yeet. It's probably going to be a brand new, never seen mold. And then plastics, you know, I love their plastics, but I do want to differentiate. There's always a way to improve upon everything. So they've got amazing putter plastics, right? But if I want to make it a little more grippy or a little softer, you know, I can say, hey, take this plastic and just please add a little bit of this. You know, this is the feel I want, my customers want, especially here in Texas where the heat is. You know, we got to manipulate it. So all the control is there. Dave loves doing the proprietary molding stuff for us, and you know, he calls me at least once a week. Probably, if I had to guess, he probably calls me 3 times a week, and you know, we talk whether it's about business or the next run or the plastics and what's going on. It's been awesome. We've got some Primo vibes that I don't have on the website right now, but they're in the 150 gram class, but it's still Primo plastic. It's super cool. It's just not very dense, but he got a batch of that in. He was like, hey, we have this super light version of Primo. It's the same exact chemical compound, but it's way less dense. And so he ran some vibes for me. They're I got one in my bag that's 148, and it feels exactly the same as the 175. I mean, there's no bubbles. It's exact same stiffness, exact same bend. It's
Let's go.
Super cool stuff. So my son Emmett obviously throws that a lot. He bombs those, but even I throw them. It's still a vibe. It still has the same integrity. It still has fade at the end. Obviously, you're just getting it up to a higher speed, so you're getting more turn. But yeah. So I got a little bit of a tangent there, but yeah, so it's different plastics, different molds, a lot of controllability, but they are our manufacturing partner in all of this. So they're helping me figure it all out.
How will it work with the Yeet? You're saying that you'll do a whole new mold.
Yep.
So like with that, I guess I don't fully understand. Will it not just be a new disc, or is it going to be the same thing? I'm confused.
Yeah, so the Yeet mold was a shared mold with Lone Star, so we couldn't take that one from Lone Star.
The Yeet was the Warbird.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we've got to start over on that. We have the cash, flip, and the rope. Those are the molds that we own, that we created over there at Lone Star.
Yeah, that didn't exist before. He created them.
Not shared.
Yeah.
The Yeet Warbird was a co-designed mold with Lone Star, so that was something we both released. They released it first, but it was all designed together. They didn't have that 12-speed slot. They had the bayonet at the time, was basically their only distance driver.
Wait, so we were so you didn't get anything out of that when you like?
No. I mean, they covered the cost of it, right, when we created it, so that was great. Okay. But in that, you know, kind of like Discmania, like you don't get the molds, obviously, if they're going to cover the cost and the design fees and all that sort of stuff. So the Yeet was an amazing mold. Hopefully, we're definitely going to take our time and make sure that this is just as good, if not better, than the original Yeet. It's always hard because you have some people with smaller arms telling you, this is way too stable, so I don't bag it, and some people that throw really hard and they have a natural anhyzer and they're like, man, it's not stable enough for me. So it's figuring out the happy medium there, but we're taking our time.
Well, you just need to have enough
for
discs that everyone can be covered.
Exactly. But I want the Yeet to be so good, so we're gonna try to do that for sure.
Dude, I threw my Vibe 485 the other day. That was
really
a wild feeling.
Jeez. That's on fire.
Yeah.
It's a bomber disc for sure.
It goes. I mean, the way if you look at it, it's got that snoot on the top, and so there's just no resistance there. It'll go unless you throw 600 feet. If you throw anything less than 600, then you can throw a Vibe for sure.
Yeah.
You throw over 600, a Vibe may be tough. But.
Well, the old run, you guys did a run of that with Hooligan, right? Or sorry, with Lone Star.
You good?
Gosh. Yep.
Yeah.
So that was another shared mold with them.
And that one was a little bit flippier, right?
It was flippier. Our very first run, if you find a first run Vibe, was pretty stable, but as things change and get retooled and whatnot, it got flippy. And so we took that mold and what we liked about it, which was the turn and the controllability and everything, but it was pretty shallow. I actually didn't even bag the original Vibe because when I threw it right, it flew really well, but a lot of times it slipped out of my hands early because it was really shallow and all sorts of stuff. So we made this new Vibe deeper. You still get the same amount of turn. It just feels way better in your hands. And now it handles forehand pretty well. I don't know if you've tried that yet or not.
I haven't, but I was a little.
It's weird because obviously it flips when you throw it on backhand, right? But it'll handle a forehand. It's pretty interesting. Same with the thread. I don't know if you've tried the thread yet or not, but it'll handle a forehand now too.
Yeah, I was hesitant to try it because I tried one of the first ones and it was flippy for me, and then I tried it. Once I got one of the ones that you sent me, and I was like, oh wow, this is good. And then I haven't like super implemented it into the bag because I have like a beat-in Halo Wraith that kind of fills that slot. But I ripped it the other day, and now I'm like, oh, I do it 485.
Yeah, it's hard because I'm competing with the beat-in Wraith slot, right? Which is everybody's like, well, I've got a beat-in Wraith. What do I need to buy for? But hopefully we can win people over. It just takes time. But beat-in Wraith for sure. If the Wraith is too stable for you, this is very, very similar. So, and we can change plastic blends, make it more stable, closer to a Wraith, and make it flippier. So, all that sort of stuff.
So how do you come up with different discs? Is it based off of this is what people want, or you go out and play and you're like, oh, I wish that we had a disc that did X, Y, or Z, or even just like coming up with a name where it's like, oh, what could be a cool disc that could associate with that?
Yeah, honestly, just branding wise, like the Yeet, I had the name, and I was like, I need a disc to be named the Yeet. That's going to sell just because of the name. What disc encompasses the name Yeet? It's got to be overstable. You can throw it as hard as you can and be able to trust it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times the names come first, but the goal is obviously to fill out the whole lineup. I have a lot of friends that help me. Shout out Tegan Jackson, Chad, Christian. Sure, I'm forgetting somebody. Knew I was going to do that, but everybody's constantly messaging me. We need this. We need a zone. We need all sorts of stuff. Stable mid is what a lot of people have been asking for. But honestly, if they're like, hey, I need this mold, but I don't have a name for it yet, I'm like, it's taking the back burner because it's got to match the branding. And we've got a whole page of names. We've got probably a shared document with 100 plus disc golf names that we all vote on and try to decide what works.
Let's go.
Believe it or not, funny story. I was a part of the Primo when we changed. I was part of that conversation. We were sitting around his not grandfather's, Emmett's grandfather. We were sitting around your father-in-law's with me, Cupcake, and Jackson. We were just putting out names, and Primo was one of them, and I was like, yeah, that's it. I mean, that's it. And
it just clicks. Like, you just know when you know.
You just know, like,
somebody puts it out there, and that's like everything so far with Hooligan has all been about collaboration. I didn't name most of the molds, so it's always been friends coming up with stuff and banter, and we're like, that's it. It just clicks.
Yeah.
So if you've got anything, let me know.
Once you do a stable approach,
Don't say the skirt. Do not say the skirt.
I wasn't gonna say skirt. I was gonna say
I've gotten a lot of skirts.
Not a zone, but you should name it a bone.
A bone?
Whoa. Yeah. A bone. That's funny.
No, the word bone.
So I have I have I just want to. I know this kind of is gonna sound selfish, but I'm asking this because it shows a testament and character of kind of Garett and Hooligan. So just tell me about when we first started. Me and you started talking. I mean, you sent me a few discs, and then I was maybe a year. Not even. How long was I on the Nick and Matt show? Not even. Maybe like 7 months, and you in the chat said, "Yo, let's run a tour series, Intern Ben." And without
everybody loved Intern Ben.
Yeah, you stuck to your word, and that was my first tour series ever, and we printed like 50 discs, and you told me you actually lost money from that. So just tell us more, tell me what was the reasoning, kind of like you believed in me, and obviously it's paid off a huge amount because now I'm on Team Hooligan, but that's what I'm trying to say, like kind of like. What was the reasoning for like giving a nobody like me just like a tour series and helping me out?
Yeah, everybody loved Intern Ben, right? So a lot of businesses, making relations, and so technically you can call it a loss at the time, but marketing costs money, right? So just getting, almost gaining your trust there and trying to help you out as much as I could, and I could see the personality that you had and what you were going for and your YouTube videos and all that sort of stuff. And so it was really a no-brainer to me. I mean, it was a small loss. Obviously it wasn't much, and I got to help somebody out. I got to get to know somebody that had a good platform and that I liked a lot and saw their growth in disc golf and all of that. So it's paid off immensely, right? I mean, we're good friends now. You're repping Hooligan out there. You're helping me expand the company, especially on the social media side, and even you helped me get a flex at Maple Hill. It's super cool.
Which is delightful.
Sort of There's so much stuff that's come from it. If you haven't tried Pop Lock and Drop, for all the listeners out there, you gotta try that out. That was Ben helped me get sponsored that on the Nick and Matt show or the Staggered Stance show. And I mean, I could probably have a whole list of stuff that I wouldn't have without Ben. So it's worked out really well.
I really appreciate that. And I wasn't like fish. The only reason I brought that up is just to show like how appreciative like I am that you believed in me as such a small creator. And as this was before the expos, like I literally was just on Nick Match for like maybe 6 months. Didn't even post a YouTube video yet. So before I just wanted to point out like how you believed in me and how much that's helped me in my career personally, of just like that kind of start of being able to do that. So I just want to express my gratitude, and I really appreciate it. I'm glad now I'm sponsored by you, and we got to keep this thing growing, and now we're bringing an expo to Dallas that you're going to be a part of too. So it's kind of crazy
that's another
how
thing
everything just mention. Like works out.
Expo, all sorts of stuff. So y'all are always shouting out Hooligan. I guess I'll shout out Ben and Sajko and Josh for everything. I mean, it's even just having me on here is awesome. Everything super cool to see every time I tune in to watch this, and there's H logos everywhere and it's brought up, and it's amazing to see.
My favorite compliment I've ever gotten, but it wasn't a compliment. It was a guy from California, Pure Disc Golf. I'll just shout him out, Caleb. I interviewed him, and then he was like, "Yeah, so tell me more about Hooligan." And then I'm like, "Yeah, they're from like Dallas." He's like, "What? I thought they were from the Northeast." And that's because he just saw this like kind of rising from like me, Sajko, the creator team, like Jake, Mikey, Brian, and a bunch of people kind of repping and throwing Hooligan. And then we have some more. So that was probably like my biggest like, oh, that's awesome, because like that's where he was
amazing.
That was the goal of kind of like me being sponsored, and why I reached out to these guys where like I want to help you out and kind of make you more.
I need some. I don't know if there's any content creators around Dallas or not. If there is any,
that is weird.
Could figure something out. Maybe people will figure out Hooligans from Dallas. I don't know.
That's funny.
If any listeners on here are from Dallas, the content creators, shoot me a DM.
Yeah, reach out to Garett.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any? I have another question, but I'll feel free if anyone has like another one. Let me know.
I was just gonna say quickly that like the story that Ben ended up sharing, I think that kind of just speaks to what people can appreciate about you and Hooligan.
Exactly.
Because I think a lot of brands, they try really hard to convince you how good they are, and I think their goal is to be the number one, just above all the rest. Which I'm not saying that that's not yours, and that's not a bad goal, but just the fact that you're willing to do things like that really really show that it's of course it's about like doing well, but at the same time you're trying to help people along the way and make cool connections. And I think that's really respectable, and people will see that and follow along because they want to, not because they're being told to.
And that's why I brought it up.
appreciate
Exactly.
that.
Yeah. You put it
I think
right in the head, Sajko.
you need the
Boom.
you need the big disc golf companies to be investing in disc golf, right? Not investing in,
Of course,
the profits and the margin and all of that sort of stuff. So I think that's important, and that's hopefully what I'm going to be able to do in the future. And so far, so good. I mean, if Hooligan grows, great. If it doesn't, oh no. But my goal is obviously to be the number one disc golf company in the world, and
right.
I want to do that through people like y'all, right? Through people that are just having fun, not through skimming margins and raising prices and all of that sort of stuff. I want it to happen organically, just from people wanting to throw it.
Throw the fun line.
Dude, oh yeah, that's what I got right here.
Yep. Exactly.
Well, it's a word of encouragement and advice. I think that
I'll take it.
Like what we've been talking about a little bit already is you have to have a competitive advantage, and I think you guys have that. But I think one of the things that the big major manufacturers miss out on a lot are they're too commercial. Like they're stuck on being like professional and like so unattainable, and like you can't like reach out to them, like all this stuff. They're like so far away, like they hold you out of arm's reach. And I think something Trash Panda does really well, and I think something Hooligan does really well, but could even do better, is that idea of like I can just reach out, or like I'm a part of this movement. I'm a part of this journey to them being a big manufacturer, And I think something you can key in on and lean into even more than maybe you already have is that idea of like, hop on now. We're on the way up. Like, help us pick our next name. Help us figure out which mold we want to produce next. Like lean into those stories even more, because then when that disc comes out, people are like,
they're invested in it.
And that's what Trash Panda is extremely good at, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Their videos and everything just bring you along for the journey and all that. I wish I was good at content creation, because that is one of my passions. Ever since I was a kid, recording videos and editing them, and I still do it. I just usually delete them after now.
No,
but yeah, I totally agree. And that's what I hope everything goes that direction. Everyone feels a part of the brands. People message me all day long. I have messages from team members, non-team members, just asking me questions. Hopefully I can keep that up as things grow. But yeah, I want people to feel a part of it. Even hiring, I've got somebody finally packing orders for me. Jackson's in there doing that. And even that takes me out of the day-to-day, and I almost hate it. I feel like I'm not there seeing what people are ordering and feeling, and being able to write little notes, if it's a name I recognize, or a customer that I know buys a lot of stuff, I can throw extra stuff in there. So I'm actually trying to figure out how to stay more involved now that I've hired somebody to help me out.
Yeah. It's hard, but like that's like parallel for me right now. I do the full scope of J Millie is the full scope of J Millie. I do every part of it. And one day, like, that's just not going to be attainable. But the idea of handing off editing to someone, it's just like,
that's
there's
terrifying.
no way.
Cringe.
I could not, like, I spend 40 hours editing every YouTube video. The idea of handing even a little bit of that to someone, horrible to me. So I understand the idea of like, now you can't be in that, but you have to have that in order to scale to the point that you want to,
Exactly.
Like as you hire people and start doing things, you're becoming more of a CEO of the brand, and a CEO doesn't pack orders and make discs, because like you were there, like you've done it. So like, that's awesome. Now you have that experience, so you can relate to that person in that position and understand like what they're doing, and like, better enable them to do that. But you can't be involved with that now, because your time needs to be spent elsewhere, planning the next mold, like getting people involved. Like ideally, having someone doing all of the content for Hooligan, you know, where there's a face on Hooligans. Like, I think something that could work well for you guys is not you on the YouTube, because you're kind of the CEO guy, but like for Hooligans YouTube, have like a Jonathan from Latitude or a Jesse from Trash Panda, where it's
100%.
a person that essentially becomes associated with the Hooligan brand. And now you think of Jonathan. When you think of Jonathan, you think of Latitude 64, and people are attached to Jonathan. And there are so many people who only throw Latitude because of Jonathan, you know? And I think through that person, you can do the vicarious, like, help design this mold, help us pick this thing. And then like people will be attached to that person and also feel more involved in Hooligan, you know? So I'm just giving all the advice for some reason.
No,
it's a consultation.
It sounds we have the exact same mindset on all of it. Is, you know, there's somebody out there that can probably do it better than me too. Not only does it free me up, but they're going to do it better than me. So that's the goal. It just takes finances.
I don't even want to say better than you, though. I think it's more so your time needs to be spent elsewhere. Like, I think your time is more valuable than your, you know, it takes
100%.
commitment. I think you're a smart guy, and I think you're like, you know what you're doing. So if you spent time doing content creation, you'd be good at it. You know, like, that's all it takes. In my opinion, content creation is like 75% hard work and then 25% luck. You know, like, sometimes you get lucky, but most of the time it's figuring out what works and figuring out what doesn't work. So,
and you can only control what you can control.
Yeah. And some people have it. I mean, obviously, all three of y'all have your own styles, completely different. You have your competitive advantage in disc golf, you know. So that's
the goal.
This is
something that you got to figure out along the way.
Shut up, nerd.
That's my one thing.
That's your competitive advantage. I'm saying, like,
dude.
Oh yeah.
Sajko, start doing that in like more videos, and then I want to see a mold of you, or like a signature series, and you're like, and it says, "Shut up, nerd."
Oh, that's amazing.
That should become your new like catchphrase thing. And then in like a year, you do a signature series. Dude, I would throw the heck out of that thing, man.
Oh my god, the signature series nerd. That'd be amazing. Yeah, I mean I say so much stupid stuff from a day-to-day basis, not to take time away from our interview. Like, I feel like we could come up with so many one-liners that are just like, oh, this could work, or like we could put this on something. Yeah, it could be fun.
Yeah, I feel like I need a microphone to like all y'all just like put something right here.
I probably just have
better.
Yeah, that's great. That's love it. I probably have just one more question. I think we pretty much covered everything. But any exciting things kind of coming down the pipeline for Hooligan that you want to talk about?
Absolutely. So like I said, we just passed our 2-year anniversary. So we're about to release something really, really cool for that I think is going to be exciting. One of our, I don't even want to give a whole lot of hints, but we got something really exciting there.
It's very exciting. I know what it is.
Most people on here probably know what it is.
I think Sajko does too.
I know Sajko knows what it is too. I don't know if Jay Millie does or not. Sorry, sucker. But
I'm not in the Hooligan. No, I'm a Hooligan, but I'm not a Hooligan.
Yep. So that's coming up, and then we've got some I'll call it brand deals coming up that I think are going to be really good. You're going to start seeing our product in pretty big stores around the country.
What?
And also pretty.
I feel like
Walmart
I can guess
stores,
which
not
store
Walmart
it is.
type stores. I'm sure you probably can.
HEB, got it.
Yep, there you go. They're HEB. They're expanding in Dallas now. Buc-ee's,
Best Buy.
But Best Buy. No, I actually am trying to get into Buc-ee's right now. I think that would be sweet.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That would be awesome, wouldn't it?
That would be so cool. So Texas.
Yeah, new discs, it'd be super Texas. New partnerships coming. I mean, that's most of it. I mean, I've got phone calls lined up and stuff's kind of rolling. I think as we release this 2-year anniversary and this partnership to get in these other stores across the country and all that hits at the exact same time, hopefully we see another explosion of Hooligan going on. And we're accepting new team members right now. So I've been working every night, going through applications, sending out emails, getting them set up in the system. All of that, I think it's all about momentum. And I think we're about to hit another, little sprint button. So here in the next few months, it should be Hooligan everywhere.
I have a few more questions.
Absolutely.
Keep
Bring 'em on.
going.
So we're gonna
I'm
keep
here.
this rolling.
Yeah.
So kind of along the lines of what we were just talking about. I don't know which question to start with. How long till you quit your job? Is that ever gonna happen? Or like,
Yeah,
is Hooligan?
every year I'm like, man, I probably next year. Probably next year. And there's ebbs and flows. Obviously, during COVID, everything was like this, right? So I was like, man, I'm quitting my job in 6 months.
Yeah.
But then things settle down, or we leave Lone Star and have to start over, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, totally.
And quitting, as quitting your job's really, really hard to do, especially with just a safety net, insurance, and because I have a job
A
that can pay all my
3-year-old.
bills. A 3-year-old, I do have a 3-year-old. It gives me the ability to help people like Ben, right? If I was doing this and this was my only income, I would probably have to scrape margins a little more and not be as fun as I want to be, and be able to just do whatever it takes to get these discs in the hands of the people, and whatever it takes to get in media and all that sort of stuff. So quitting my job is definitely the dream. But as far as the timeline, unless Jay Millie wants to buy a bunch of discs, it's going to take me a little while.
Like a ton of discs, probably.
A ton of discs. A ton of discs. You got it. I know. You work for one of my company's partners. So.
Wait, sorry. What'd you say?
Said you work. I work for Corvo, the engineering company, but we sell to your company. You work for Lockheed.
Oh,
right?
yes, yeah.
So we sell a lot to Lockheed. So
And Martin,
we're a little bit the same.
Yeah.
What was that?
100%.
And Martin.
What?
Lockheed Martin? Yeah. Lockheed Martin.
Yeah, that's all I was. Jamie Lee doesn't know his own company, I guess.
I do know my company.
We just call them Lockheed. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I had something. Dang it.
I'll quit my job when you quit your job, Jay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, do you work 40 hours a week?
At my full-time
Yeah, he's
job?
full.
Oh, yeah.
He's like an engineer, just like you, Jamie Lee.
Yeah.
He's
So is there a
full-time.
world
Yeah,
where
so
like
These engineer Texas boys.
you could scale back to like part-time, so that I just think that in your situation, like if you could give more time to Hooligan, like I could just see it.
I
Dude,
know.
I love the
It's like,
passion
that's
Jamie Lee
always-
has for Garett.
that's-
This is
Yeah, he's
awesome.
stoked
I
about
love
this.
it too, and his brain is exactly where my brain is 24/7. We're like, man, if I wasn't working on this full-time job right now, I could be out doing this. I could be running this event and talking to these people. It's definitely a possibility. I'm not gonna act like my current job is just super hard and takes up all my life. It's a great job. I work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in the office, but Mondays and Fridays I'm at home. So I've got a 4-day stretch where I'm at home and things are relaxed, and really only 2 weeks out of every month are pretty busy. But yeah, I mean, of course, if I could just go full-time Hooligan, hit the ground running, I think there is a lot of possibility there. But having a 3-year-old and a family and all that's just so hard to risk that sort of thing. And right now the growth is looking pretty good. So
I mean, I understand like it's hard. It's really, really hard, especially with where you're at. Me and my wife, we've been married 6 months now, and we don't have kids, and we don't really have like a house. Like we don't have a ton of things that are holding us back from something like that. It's like you do. So I understand that, like, yeah, it's hard. And I also think that there's a lot of validity to like, maybe you never quit your full-time job, because like, if it works, it works,
I mean, if you can do both.
I always talk to my friends about it. Like, they don't have something that makes them want to like quit their job or whatever. They don't have a passion that they need to pursue. They have jobs, and they're happy to let those jobs support their outside of their jobs lives. They work 40 hours, and then they enjoy the money that they make from working 40 hours. And I truly believe that is perfectly fine. Not everyone has to have something outside of that. So the idea of like, you work 40 hours and keep growing Hooligan, and maybe you just never stop. But I don't know, man.
No,
dude,
I mean, my
so
goal
get
is
to the moon,
definitely
man. Come
to
on.
quit the job and go full Hooligan. My job is not to work in a cubicle as I do Hooligan every month. So
I think
That's it.
I think the goal would just to be cover your expenses through Hooligan and Discmart. I think that would be the most sound way to
Yeah.
quit your job. Because yeah, like Jamie Lee was saying, like the reason we could do that is because, I mean, I still live at home, guys. I don't pay rent, so I can do that. You obviously have like a $450,000 home, and like you got to pay the mortgage.
Whoa.
And
This
Whoa.
thing's
What?
Oh,
Yeah, what? Hold up.
you got to pay the mortgage. Oh no, well, sorry, it's not. I'm pretty sure it's like 600. It's something crazy. It's pretty expensive. Whatever you told me.
Say how much his home is on the podcast.
What the?
Guys, I'm saying he has an expensive. He has a mortgage. Is what I'm trying to say. But his home is worth a good amount. Why is that a big deal? You can literally look up what his home is worth right now on Zillow.
Well, no one knows where he lives except for you, dog.
Whatever. Anyways,
It's totally fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, he has way more expenses, so I understand. Like, it could be.
Yeah, totally.
Yep. Yeah. And
Okay,
everybody on here feels the economy right now too, right? So
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
that's the goal. And I think if Hooligan did get to where it covered at least my expenses, then it would be time to quit your job, hit the ground running, grow this more.
Yeah.
And I think even if it wasn't covering my expenses, but I saw the path to where when I quit my job, I'm like, if I just quit my job, I could easily make this money. But I've got to be able to see the path and all that sort of stuff. And so
Totally.
it's tricky. You know, I'm still trying to figure out my way through the disc golf industry and how to get it to grow and all of that.
So along those lines, so the way you've been, okay, explain to me, since you moved to Gateway, what has been the like release schedule / like marketing for it? Like it kind of seems like to me you're doing almost like batches and then like, you know, kind of trying to sell out of those and then, you know, do a new release. Like when is there going to be a time where Hooligan just has stock? You know, like is there a plan towards that, or is the idea like we're going to keep doing this and incrementally start building, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I do like, I mean, scarcity in molds is a marketing thing in and of itself. But right now, I mean, the batches you're seeing are just because finances aren't there to just load up on everything. I've got to sell these discs before I can invest in this new mold. I mean, it's not like I can just start investing in all these other ones and whatnot.
Totally.
Obviously, I could pull out of my savings and do it and whatnot. But if I'm not seeing the demand for the current molds, and I don't feel comfortable investing in the new molds yet. So it's all just, you know, a process, and it's growing right now. We do have a fairly good stock. It's looking pretty good, and I think the mold that we're going to release here in about 2 or 3 weeks is going to, I assume, fly off the shelf. It's one of our best selling, and now it's coming to Gateway Plastic in a pretty cool way. So,
Cash.
cash.
Can't wait.
Maybe. And by the way, that's why, like, it's my that's what I was saying. Like, I love when I was saying the cash, like the new plastic of the Millie, what is going on? The cash is literally like my favorite. Even if I wasn't sponsored by her, it's one of my favorite approach putters. It's like, it's basically like a P3X, but it also kind of beats into this like flippy yet stable, holds the line. It's just like, it reminds me of that, like how Anthony Barella throws his Luna. That flight, it's how the cash is for me. It can flip up, but if you throw it on the angle, it'll hyzer out. It's just stable enough. It's not like super, and I think people are gonna find it super useful. And when it's first new, I think it's like a softer zone. So like if your zone, you can if you throw your zone as hard as you can, and like it's like 250 feet and dumps out, the cash is like 200 feet and has that kind of like a softer type fade for that type of touchier approaches.
Yeah, for listeners that haven't thrown a cash, I definitely recommend it. It's like you said, it's a straighter version of the zone basically, or a slightly more stable version of like an Envy. So it's, if you really want to hit a line and you're able to commit to a line, it's going to hold really, really straight, and you're not going to get a hard dump at the end, but you're also not going to have to worry about it flipping really hard either. It does require, you know, touch. I mean, you're not going to, if you take a forehand on it, you can't just chop over full power. It's not a zone, but it will go super straight if you can touch a flat forehand, it'll just go really, really straight, 200, 250 feet. Backhand, honestly, it can pretty much handle all the power you want to give it and hold that line. So it's extremely, extremely versatile. I think that's why it is our best selling disc, because any player can throw it. You can throw it on any line. It's super comfortable because it's on the shallow side of it. It's flat top, so it feels good in forehand and backhand. So that's it just fits every slot, and I think that's important when developing a disc.
Cash is legitimately my favorite throwing putter, and I'm sad that mine has been missing for the last
these
are the 2 months.
New plastics. If anyone on video, so it's just like it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful disc.
Yeah, that looks
sick.
Is.
And sorry, I misspoke. His house is worth $600,000.
Oh my god! I mean, it's sure. In theory, it'd be nice.
I looked up the Zestimate. I looked up the Zestimate. It's not 450. I didn't know you were buying it like that, man. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, it's appreciation, but
living outside of Dallas in an expensive city is probably holds me back from quitting my job even more. But a lot of that number, what you're talking about, is appreciation in value, not what I paid for the house.
Yeah, I know that's what I was saying.
We always talk about, you could just sell the house, move to a less expensive city, take the profits from the house going up, and put that into injection molding machines. There's always that sort of stuff. But it's always risk.
No, I like your place. Big water.
Me too. I don't think I could ever move.
Barn.
I'm around all my family. My 3-year-old has all the space he needs. My neighbors are great. My neighbors have disc golf baskets, so it's perfect.
Heck yeah.
One day I'll just force you to quit.
You're going to force me? Well, I mean, we're on the same team, and you're doing all the social media for me and all that sort of stuff.
No, I can't, man. I got to commit to my stuff.
That makes sense.
Well,
okay.
I mean, you already quit Lockheed, though, so you have time now to do
No,
both.
I haven't quit.
No, in this theory of me quitting my job.
Oh, okay.
It's
I see what you're saying.
Ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. My next question is one about Disc Barn and Hooligan.
Uh-huh.
How does it work being a retailer and a disc manufacturer when you have to promote other discs as well? It's a little bit interesting. Like Infinite's in the same boat. There's not a lot of places. I mean, realistically, are there any other than Infinite? Like Infinite makes their own discs, but they also sell a ton of other discs, and you're kind of in the same boat, but the branding is they're two separate entities pretty much. So how does juggling something like that go?
So the benefit of separating them, because people did ask why I didn't just do it under one umbrella. If I want to sponsor somebody with Hooligan, but they have a retail sponsor, then there's no conflict of interest, or vice versa. If I want to sponsor somebody like Gannon Burr, who's with Discmania, I can just sponsor him with the Disc Barn, right? I don't have to have them under one umbrella where it is a conflict of interest. But as far as promoting other discs, I'm all for disc golf. That's it. I mean, it's not like all the discs in my bag are Hooligan. Hopefully one day they are, but there's always going to be other good discs out there. And this gives me the ability to, if Hooligan's slow, but say Discmania is popping off because Gannon Burr won't stop winning, I can capitalize on that through the Disc Barn. I can promote those discs. It's not like I'm not stuck just only promoting Hooligan. I can benefit and grow the company based off of whatever is growing at the time. It's a super diversified way of running the company. I think that's probably how Infinite's doing it as well, but they probably have a little more trouble since it's all under the same name. I think the path that I've taken makes it a little bit easier, but diversifying in business is extremely important. I think we're set up really well for growth in that aspect. And if you haven't shopped at thediscbarn.com, please go there. We've got a lot of discs, and
there you
ship
go
within 24 hours.
Yeah, and that's why you guys, like, I'm glad we got him on, because now everyone is finally realizing why I shout him out so much, and and he just supports me, obviously, that's why. But he just on the Disc Barn and Hooligan, if you can use code Ben10, you get 10% off. I mean, it's a no-brainer, guys. You just heard him talk about all this stuff, and now you got to go try out Hooligan, because I'm super passionate about it. It seems like everyone here is passionate about kind of Hooligan and its growth. So it's you definitely, at least if you're listening to this podcast, give them a chance. I'd recommend putting with the dimes immensely. It'll change your game. And then when the cash comes out, I recommend that's your approach putter. And then the vibe, if you want a flippy beat and wraith out the box, that's the vibe.
If Jay Millie ever gets a hooligan code, I require 11% just so I can one up
11%
every time.
Done. Immediately done.
He can say use code Ben10 for 10% off. I'll say use code Jay Millie for 11% off.
Hey, here's the thing. I wouldn't mind that because it's the discount is
It's
literally just
to help the people.
just to help you guys. I don't get any money off of
I
it.
don't want it
answer.
for any other reason other than just to say it
So
right
what up,
after you
Ben?
say it.
Yeah, it's
No, and then
literally just
Sajko's got
code
12%,
Ben10.
So.
Yeah,
There we go.
Yes.
Perfect. We can just go back to back to back, you know.
code Ben12. No, yeah. So yeah, it's literally just to help out you guys. 10% off, and I think I'm one of the holding codes for Hooligan, really, other than like Sacker Stance. There might be another. I don't really know them, but
Yeah, there's a couple, but yeah, your code's doing pretty well. People are using it. You're very active on posting and keeping up with releases and restocks and all that sort of stuff. So I appreciate that.
try, man.
Yeah, I think the idea, the setup you have is really cool. I mean, I asked that question, but I've already asked it myself. I just wanted people to hear the answer. Like I know the answer.
Yeah.
because we talked about it. But
No, I think
it's a really smart business decision because a win for a disc golf is a win for you regardless. Like the bigger disc golf gets.
I'm moving outside, by the way.
Nice.
So my wife could.
We're
in a small travel trailer. So.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're in Colorado. Nice.
Yeah. Everybody wants to see mountains.
Yeah,
back there.
Nice. There we go. But a win for disc golf is a win for you because with Disc Barn you're going to sell more discs. With Hooligan you're going to sell more discs. You know, that's a good setup. I appreciate good business and good marketing and all that stuff. I think it's really interesting now that I'm kind of in it as well. Subtle hint, may have some merch coming out in the next month or so. That's an exclusive for the podcast listeners.
I need a what is it, J Mini? Is that what it's called? I need one of those.
There are J Minis already out right now, but there may be something that looks like this coming soon.
Hats
with my logo.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Something like that. You know, whatever. Not to derail. Okay.
I want to hear about everything going on with y'all. I mean, y'all are all running your own companies too, and I want to hear.
Yeah, but we talk about that all the time.
Yeah, we do.
I don't get.
Yeah, we don't always get to have you.
Yeah,
figure out where I want to stand. Over here is good. But Sajko, I mean, Sajko's blowing up right now too. The another round stuff. I'm seeing him all over.
It's weird. So, it's really weird for me.
You're quiet on this podcast right now, but you're the one trending.
No, it's funny because my wife says she says the same thing as well. She's like,
too big for us.
When we have a guest on, I tend to be more quiet, but it's because I'm trying to focus more on the guest than like myself. Yeah. Like I'll ask questions when I can, but if someone else is just like going off, by all means, just let them go. I mean, I do have another question. So back when you started this, I'm sure you look back on like the last few years pretty fondly, and like what moments or accomplishments do you look back and do you feel like were like the biggest one that I don't know, you're like, man, I'm glad that happened, or like it's just like, man, it really feels like it's coming together.
I mean, release day of the very first, we did the Yeet and the Vibe. That's the one that sticks out. Obviously, just getting started is the key to anything. My wife planned a big, I thought I was just going with 4 of my buddies to the shop to, press the button, get them live on the website. I got to the house and there was 30 people there and cake and all this sort of stuff. She planned a big celebration for that. So just seeing most of the milestones that I like are just seeing everybody there to help me out. Definitely, especially working a full-time job, I can't take any credit for doing it all. It's just having people with me all the time. I've got friends that are, while I'm in Colorado, helping pack orders. Obviously, I've got a person on payroll helping now, but I've got a lot of people not on payroll helping constantly. We've got group messages. We've got the creator team helping. Let's see. So the release is definitely a big one. The 1-year anniversary was huge for me to just see, I made it for a full year. Everything's going good. I've already got, at that time, I think it was 5 molds out, which is really cool for a year. Hopefully this next year is, we're on year 2 now. Well, starting year 3. we had to step back a little bit with the manufacturing change. But that's another thing for me, being able to finally fly out and see the manufacturing facility of Gateway. That was a big milestone, in my opinion. It's not something that the public really saw, but it was really putting me more hands-on and understanding the background of what I'm doing, instead of, with Lone Star, I'm pretty much just saying, this is what I want, I'm ordering it. It's like any other product. It didn't feel very hands-on, but now I feel like I'm really part of it. I'm talking with the owners every single day. I'm developing, I'm talking about blends. So that is a huge major milestone for me. There were a few players that I signed. Signing Gannon Burr to the Disc Barn was huge for me.
Yeah.
We had Drew Gibson on Hooligan when we had the Yeet, and that was huge. Actually, right after we signed Drew, he was playing Gannon Burr in I think it was Las Vegas, where they went head to head and all that, and having Yeets in his bag, and they were talking about it on Jomez and all that. So that all worked really well. Seeing Hooligan's name come up on Jomez and TK Pro and all that without being paid marketing, that was huge for me. I'm sending that to all my friends. But I mean, most of it's the entire journey. There's not anything huge that sticks out. It's just being able to talk to people like this and see that people actually care to hear anything about it is the milestone.
Right. That's awesome. Is there one other thing? Is there one thing that you wish people would ask you that they don't typically ask you? Like running Hooligan or even just other things like that?
Not really. I mean, nobody really asks the why, like why you do it, sort of thing. So it's not that I wish that they would ask or anything, but a lot of it is. I mean, I think it's like Jay Milley mentions a lot. It's about pursuing passion and doing something that you want to do every day. I mean, I can work 100 hours at Hooligan and I don't feel like I'm working. I feel like I'm playing disc golf, or I'm fishing, my other hobbies. That's what it feels like when I'm working for Hooligan. It's like people tell me all the time, like, it's so cool that you're out there working so hard. We're proud of you. But it doesn't feel like that when you're doing it. It doesn't feel like I'm working super hard. I'm just having fun. I'm playing a video game, in my opinion.
That's beautiful.
So
man.
People that want to start a business, that it sounds scary, but if it's something that you're passionate about, it's not scary. It's you just want to do it, right? I'm sure y'all want to go make the videos. It's all you want to do. It's just fun. It's not like you feel like you're grinding and it's just hard work. You enjoy it, right?
So, exactly. I mean, that's why I
need to realize that.
That's why for me personally, whenever I refer to my videos, I just call them dumb videos, because that's exactly what they feel like to me. And the fact that people watch them is like, honestly kind of weird for me. I mean, that's why I put it out, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ben.
All right. No, if you have a question, Sajko, go ahead.
No, that was it.
Sorry. You saying fishing reminded me of Garett. So here's the timeline of me and Garett's relationship. I just remembered this. So I was on the Nicky Matt show at the time for like maybe a few months. I reached out to Garett. I was like, hey, like, I'd love your discs. Like, I'd love to, like, make a reel with them or something like that. And then he was like, yeah, sure. He sent me like 3 Yeets and I created a reel and I loved them. Then we got to talking, and I own a tackle store and he talked about fishing. I sent him a huge like tackle box care package for free. And then like a few months later, that's when the tour series happened. And then we kept talking, kept in touch. Was super invested. And then this year you were like, I want to make a team this year. What do you think about being sponsored? So I forgot that, like, that little part of like you sending me the discs and then me sending you a tag. So I just think that's such a cool testament. Like, we didn't know each other. We were just like being kind to each other and with
just
no
friends.
expectations.
Just everybody.
And it just like somehow worked.
I was like, you want to fly down
better.
here? I know we've talked on the phone for like 30 minutes, but do you want to fly to Texas?
Yeah. So then I was there in March it's just crazy that, like, we could go so many stories of things just like that, where it's like how one little thing led to this major thing crazily. But I think that's one of my like more favorite stories, is just like we just sent each other care packages for no reason. Like, why did I just sent you tackle? I don't know why.
I think that's part of not only being a friend, but just business, is you just like to make people happy. You want to show off your stuff.
Yeah. I think it was just like a thank you. Thanks for sending the Yeets. And here's like,
I'm in Colorado right now, right here in my truck. I've got a box of all my molds and all that, because I know there's kids here at this campground that we see here every year that they throw my discs when we go to the field. I brought some just to give to them, and they don't play disc golf, but this is like a happy, right? Like I have the means, I have the access. I'm excited to just give it to them, and who knows, maybe they'll decide to go to one of their local courses and try it out.
They'll be the next Paul Macbeth, and then you already have that.
There's a kid over here, super cool. He's probably 10 or 12 years old, but he's got dreads. He wears the flat bill hat. He's out here fly fishing all the time. He's got an electric motorcycle. He's the coolest kid ever.
That guy sounds like an absolute
he needs to be in disc golf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a legend. Every time
he deserves
I
to
told
throw
Emily
a
last night, we drove past him and he was walking down the road, and I was like, I hope Emmett is as cool as him one day. 'Cause this kid's so cool. Yeah.
All right. If y'all have any more questions, let me know. But other than that, thank you, Garett, for joining.
Yeah, of course.
Appreciate it.
Wait, I thought he was gonna stay on and help us talk about the other stuff, though.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure if you guys were down. You guys didn't really give me a yes or no, so I was just like,
y'all can kick me off. I don't care.
No, as long as he's down.
If you're down, okay. So
I'm down.
yeah. So that was kind of my whole plan with Funsie, like kind of having the guest also as host. So I'm down because we did with Joseph. But yeah, let's get into it because we're an hour 10 in. And yeah, I'll just bring up some topics. We only got a few, so
Start us off with a bang, dude.
all right. Starting off with a bang, Prodigy. What is happening with Prodigy,
Dude? I don't know, man.
So
I don't have the ends.
Wait, you want my answer?
Well,
that
let me give the people some details and you guys some details.
Yes,
and then we can go off.
Lay it out so everyone knows what's going on.
So mid-season, Kevin Jones. We already sort of talked about this before on the podcast, but Kevin Jones, or was that that was Stagger Stance? Sorry, but Kevin Jones left Prodigy mid-season in a seemingly like. His caption was like, "Thanks, Prodigy. Go buy my discs. They're 60% off." Well, it wasn't really like, for 9 years or whatever, I've been a part of. It's been an incredible journey, and Prodigy posted that like it's been amazing, and everyone's thoughts were kind of like, okay, like that's weird, but it could be, Kevin Jones hasn't been performing that well. He might have had a performance clause in his contract, like you have to stay at this certain standings average for you to keep receiving this money. And so that was like the speculation, whatever. But then someone who's been with the team for 9 years, Prodigy, Vaino Michaela, leaves mid-season, like a week or so.
A week later.
Yeah, a week after, and goes, by the way, Kevin Jones signs to Innova, and Vaino Michaela also signs to Innova. So, and I don't think Vaino would have had any bad blood with Prodigy at all. I feel like he was so happy there. I think what's going on personally is that something is happening internally with Prodigy, and I think they're giving the players options like, hey, like this is happening. We're preparing. My opinion is they're preparing for a buyout. This is complete speculation. I could be 100% wrong, and that's why
to poach someone.
What?
To like buy out someone's contract and steal them from another manufacturer?
No. Like they're getting bought out, like the company. Company. Like I think someone's gonna buy Prodigy. Maybe they're getting rid of
House of Discs.
Rid of some bigger contracts so they can get kind of like that purchase price down. I don't really know how it works, but and that's why I'm speculating because I have no idea. If I did know, I would not be able to talk about it. But so that is my guess as what's happening. And it's odd that they both went to Innova. I'm not saying Innova's going to be the company to buy them out, but it seems like they're preparing for something big because here's my other thing. So the whole thing that Isaac Robinson was putting on Prodigy baskets and spitting out, that was a huge thing on all our social media and Jomez, and people were saying like, Prodigy baskets are trash. And Isaac Robinson is their star player, like world champion, whatever. And he's like reposting people getting spit out of baskets and be like, "Oh, I'm Isaac Robinson," and then comment. I've seen him comment on like these videos of like kind of people kind of saying like when they get a spit out, being like, "Oh, dude, I'm just like Isaac Robinson," and be like, "Yup," him commenting. So like, I know that's like kind of way speculation, and it could be nothing. But I'm just saying, like, if I'm personally like getting paid a lot of money by a company, I don't know if I would like kind of, even though it was wrong that he got the basket spit out, I don't know personally if I would like kind of like join in on the fun of making fun of their brand, if that makes sense. I know he's not necessarily making fun of them, but I've just seen him repost things, stories of people getting spit out and being like, "Yep, just happened," or something like that. So that is complete speculation, worse speculation. But the first, I think, is kind of the first part of what I was saying. I think something's there. So yeah, I'm gonna put it on to you guys. Go ahead, free range. Whatever, whoever wants to talk.
Garett, you want to go first?
Yeah, Garett.
Sure. So I don't having this barn gives me a little bit of insight as far as sales. So Prodigy sales, I'm in Texas, so Prodigy's not huge in Texas, so my numbers are probably skewed. But Prodigy sales, out of all my manufacturing companies I carry, are my lowest. So I mean, it could just be the fact that the financials aren't there to support these players, and they've come to an agreement that this is the best way to increase that. That's kind of where my head's at. But I could see a buyout like you're talking about. I just don't know if the company's not doing well, why you would want to buy them. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of competitive advantage to what Prodigy has. A lot of people don't like their naming convention. They don't like their baskets. They've made some really good brand deals. I love the fact that they've got the hockey discs and all that sort of stuff that they're doing. They've clearly got really good business people involved in it. But there's some sort of marketing they're missing there, and sales haven't been great for a while at the disc barn. And so if I've got to take a wild shot, it's just financials aren't doing very well, and there's a lot of competition right now, and this is their way to cut some costs.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I can go next. My takeaway, yeah, I don't think there's nearly as much money in for like pro players as there was back in, say, like 2021, when I imagine probably some of these deals were made for players like Kevin Jones and Vino. I don't actually remember when Vino was re-signed, but so it's not really a secret that Prodigy, other players leave their contracts, and that just kind of happens and goes to another company. Whereas like we've seen with Prodigy in the past, like Gannon Burr left and they're like, no, that's not happening. So I could imagine a world where, like Kevin Jones, I'm pretty sure he makes like a decent, or he made a pretty penny from Prodigy.
Yeah, it was a good amount. I believe.
Yeah, and I would imagine Vino, especially like with a European crowd, probably did pretty all right for himself as well. And when those players maybe aren't like fulfilling on their end some of those deals, I don't think it's too far removed to imagine that Prodigy's like, hey, what's the deal? But I don't think Prodigy would be doing that if they were making some decent money. So I would imagine maybe financially they're not doing the best, so they just have to make some difficult decisions right now that I'm sure they don't want to make, but they kind of have to for the sake of the survival of their company and supporting other players that they have and whatnot. Because yeah, I don't think, even around here, I don't think Prodigy really sells super well. I don't really see it in other people's bags and whatnot.
Well, you love Prodigy, Sajko. So like you probably buy the most Prodigy out of everyone I've seen ever.
I'm a weird individual. So I like things that other people, this sounds terrible, that other people don't like really give time to. So I'm always like,
He's quirky.
I'm like, this is a weird disc.
Guys.
I'm like, this is a weird disc. Like, I love throwing something like, let me try this out, or just like some other brands. So that's why I do it personally, just because no one talks about it. I'm like, hey, let me see if it's actually like what my opinion is. All these people will tell you like, oh, you this and that, and so I just try it and see what I like. And yeah, I mean, I think it's good. I think there's public perception is probably worse than what it actually is, like so many things in life. But I know that there have been times for their manufacturing where it's like, oh, that's just not even, you can't even throw that. Like that's rough.
Yeah, flashing
so I think
has always been the biggest thing, kind of that people talk about with Prodigy.
And that sticks around in people's minds. I mean, you pay money for something and then it's like the product is not what you expected it to be quality wise. You're like, why would I do that again?
Yeah. I have a few opinions. So I think it's really interesting that both Kevin and Vino went to Innova. So
Yeah, right.
I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibilities that Innova is looking to strengthen their pro team mid-season. Like, Innova is obviously one of the giants, and other than Calvin, there's not, in my opinion, like someone that's like super dominant. Not that Vino and Kevin are like gonna be lighting it up. Like, they both have the potential to do it, but I feel like something people complained about Innova is that their pro team, they didn't really do much in the offseason. They didn't really strengthen it very much. So I don't think it's outside the realm of possibilities that Innova went out of their way and poached two pretty good pros from a company that is obviously, struggling. Like, Prodigy is one of the big, like, in the big name conversation that isn't doing great. Like, and then like my other thought is along the lines of what you guys say. Like, public persona and branding and all that stuff, we've already talked about it a lot, is very, very important. And I heard this saying the other day that trust is gained in drops and lost in buckets. And
I like that.
the idea that, like, Prodigy has lost trust in buckets, when they did the whole Gannon thing, they just dumped their whole bucket out by being kind of ugly to him, in my opinion. Like, suing your own player just does not seem like the right way to handle that situation. Having flashing on your discs, just like overall, the like branding and like understanding of Prodigy, people just have a distaste about almost every aspect. Baskets, discs, pro players. There is some level of like, Prodigy didn't handle this perfectly, and so now I view them as a lesser. And so when it comes to disc sales, that's obviously translating just in a general sense. And from what I understand, like, Prodigy's trying to turn that around, but it's trust is gained back in like drops. And I think maybe part of it is they brought in a bunch of people and were like, hey, turn this around. Got these cool brand deals, like you mentioned, Garrett. And it's possible that they're like, what the heck? Why have we not seen a spike in sales? And my opinion is because they have to commit to this bit for another 5 years and really completely rebrand everything to like actually become good. And now they're dropping pros, or maybe they're dropping pros because they know they need to rebrand and completely clean shop and then just begin anew, because the Prodigy brand that is right now has to have some kind of like phoenix rebirth from the ashes, or they're done, in my opinion.
You know what I think they should do? And they could do whatever they want, honestly. I think they should just acknowledge that they had that one time, that small era of like the really bad flashing issue, and like kind of joke about it and use that as a means to propel like their current plastic. Like, I think that's funny.
It's
and
always
something
best to make fun of yourself for something that
New
Yeah,
mold called the Flash. Yeah,
that would be hilarious. Yeah, I think that could work if they're because people know about it and it feels like they kind of hide it. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents. Not that they asked for it.
I think that would do well. I think that would help them.
Yeah, yeah, I think that would be funny. And sorry, I need to circle back because I realized I didn't say why I said the Isaac Robinson thing. My point with that was saying like maybe he's starting to like kind of like, because maybe he's leaving too. That's what I was saying. I was like
Yeah.
saying
be
like,
comfortable.
yeah, I wasn't. I realized I'm talking about like how the baskets and not the reason why I'm mentioning it. But yeah, so yeah, that was Prodigy. I don't know. I think they do some really cool stuff, and they're really working hard with the new fractal plastic and
Yeah.
all that stuff. And yeah, I think like Jamie said, it's gonna take some time to gain people's trust back, and maybe that's what they're doing. They're like, okay, guys, like we gotta strap in. And so I have all the faith in them that Will, I got to talk to. He came to the expo. Like, those guys care about kind of their brand, and I think they're good. it's well in the possibility that they're just like, all right, let's go. This is time. Let's get back to where we were. Because at one point, like every single pro in the world was on their team. So that it might have lit a fire under. But like, yeah, like we gotta clean house and get it going. So I'm not sure. I only guess buyout because it's just random. I don't really.
So
I don't know.
The bad thing about the perception of the way they did it is Gannon Burr was probably their cheapest player. That was their best player, right? At the time when all that happened, he was probably one of their cheaper players because they signed him early. So they were forcing him to stay, right? They sued and all that. Now, Kevin Jones, I think Kevin and Kale are their two highest paid. And they're just like, go, yeah, sure. You're not playing that good. You're costing us a lot of money. So it's clearly like, it sounds, to me, the perception of that is a little bit, let's do what's benefiting us a lot. Gannon Burr wants to leave, but he's making us a lot of money and we're not paying him much, so we're going to force him to stay. Kevin Jones wants to leave, but we're paying him a ton and he's not making us much, so let him go.
Yeah. But then
so I get the business side of it, but it's just bad perception.
Makes me like the mix of
Vino,
just Kevin, the Vinyl. It seemed like everything was good. When Gannon left, Vinyl got a bunch of Prodigy stuff from Gannon, like his signature M2. So that's, I think it feels like a Prodigy is giving them an option. This is that's what I'm thinking. This is what's happening. We're rebranding or getting bought out or whatever it may be. You can decide to stay or you can find a new company if this is not something you want to be a part of. That's my
Well, then Kevin didn't get like a goodbye disc, but Vino did. That's another like complication.
Yeah, that is weird.
That's kind of weird. Like
that's what I'm
Vino
saying.
Got
it
the
makes
Archer.
No sense. Yeah.
Yeah, but then Kevin, arguably like a more well known, at least in the U.S., didn't get something. It's weird. It's hard.
They're keeping their name in media a lot just off of all this.
Yeah,
they're
true.
Talked about constantly.
There you go.
I think we're gonna.
Any press is good press, eh?
Yeah, here we are. We've talked about it for 20 minutes.
Yeah, let's move on. So we're just gonna briefly touch on this. It's news. It's kind of silly news, but
no, it's news. I want to talk about it for 45 minutes.
I think it's good conversation.
It happened. So I'll just lay it out. Drew Gibson posted a video, just like a silly video, saying about how everyone says like Silas form is the most perfect form. So then Drew posted a video saying, "Oh, Silas has a perfect form. Maybe I can learn a few tips," and tries to like mimic his form, and throws it. And I thought it was fine. It wasn't anything. I thought it was funny.
I mean, to me, that seemed like it was in good fun. I guess I don't know the relationship, or I know Drew or know Drew and Silas's relationship, but to me, that felt like, haha, we're friends. I'm a mess with you.
So, but that's where I'm going, because Silas then posts a diss track about Drew, which I also thought was hilarious and good fun. I didn't think anything.
I don't know, man. He said some things in there that are like a little sus.
Yeah. But
me, I listened to that and I was like, he's coming for Drew's throat after Drew kind of just messed with him.
But here's the thing: Drew commented back to Silas like, "Yeah." Silas was like, "All right, I'm coming with a rebuttal," and Drew commented like, "The fat jokes are overplayed" or something like that. So like he mentioned that too. So he kind of gave a lane, and it was kind of like it seemed joke. So then I'll just lay it all out. Silas posted a diss track, just like dissing Drew and over a beat. It wasn't like it wasn't anything like crazy, like Drake and like exposing each other and stuff like that. It was just like, you think you have better form than me? I'll give you a form for 50 or form review. Anyways, so then after that, Silas has to delete it for whatever reason. Not sure. Drew posts a video, not anything to do with the diss track. It's just him doing form. He replies to a comment saying it was funny for the first few at first, and it was good until Silas came after my family. That's what he commented. So obviously it struck a chord with Drew. It struck a chord with Silas. So that's why Silas. And then Silas releases a diss with Discmania a few days later, like kind of the Discmania vinyl stamp, and it's called Disc Golf. And it's like a record. It's just basically like Disc Golf was what Silas posted. Now it's a vinyl or a vinyl stamp with a disc, and it had the stamp Disc Golf, DISS, from Silas. He released it, and for sale. Drew then comments on it saying, on that release, like that of the disc, to be honest, I'm glad you got something good out of it, whether you had to delete it or no. It makes me truthfully smile. A diss track aimed at me can make someone extra cash and get their sponsor to recognize them. Now, like, that was obviously, that was like kind of like passive aggressive. It was nice.
Condescending.
But it was passive aggressive.
I'm better than you.
And Discmania responds to that with all love, Drew, with like a handshake emoji, I'm pretty sure. And Silas also responds like, yeah, I appreciate that. You're real. He replies, you're a real one for that. But then this is where it gets super interesting. Drew then posts to his story, after maybe of Paul Macbeth's putt on a disc golf park, which is Discmania's basket, hitting in the basket and then popping back out. And Drew posts like, hey, Discmania, when are we going to change your design that's been around for 10 years? It seems like you got to do something. And then he comments back with, and then on the story, he says that. And then on the story somewhere, it says, it's all love though, with the handshake emoji. So it just seems like it was, at first, it was long and fun. And then it seemed to kind of strike a chord. My recommendation, guys, just don't make fun of anyone regardless, like directly. Just like, it's
Wise
just like
words.
it just hurts people's feelings. And yeah, that's all I got to say about that. I'm just giving you the story of what happened. It's on the internet. You guys can all go see it. I'm just like relaying.
I mean,
news.
you can't see it.
No, it's gone.
Oh, well, you can't see. I'm saying like the story. Obviously, you can't see disc golf, but you can see all those comments. And I guess Drew's story's gone now.
It's on Reddit. Yeah.
My opinion is, I think Drew was just messing around. I don't know Drew, and so maybe if I knew him or whatever, he's more serious, and that was really passive aggressive or something. But to me, it seemed like, hey, we're friends, haha. You like, I'm gonna mess with you, And then Silas drops. I mean, you can't listen to it anymore, but it's a 2-3 minute like rap, and
it's like a minute or so around there, maybe 2.
It was definitely past a minute. I know it was past a minute.
Yeah, no, yeah, minute or so, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
it wasn't 3.
And the whole thing to me just felt like I started listening, and it was only 2 or 3 lines in. I was like, that's too far, and then it's another minute of just too far, in my opinion. And I don't know, maybe I'm soft and maybe their relationship's like that. But to me, it was just like, here's a little small jokey, and then here's like a massive mountain of just, I'm going to try to hurt your feelings. And I was very shocked. I was like, wow, that was like, you made a mountain out of an anthill and, did your own mountain. And then now it just seems like they have genuine like issues with each other.
Yeah,
I mean, that's my opinion. Like, I'm not gonna,
but
I think it's interesting. Like, I think it was a really good, it was a good roast. Like, It was a good song, a good roast. Like, he rapped very impressively. I was like, wow, good rhymes, roasted him for sure. But I was like, wow, that would hurt my feelings pretty bad.
But here's the thing why I thought it was also like in good fun, because it seemed like they were playfully bantering, and like Drew saying, like, the fat jokes are overplayed, like just in a way that was like, just kidding. I think he did the laughing crying emoji. Don't quote me on that. After saying that, and
yeah, but like
kind of them, but their comments of being like Silas saying, you roasted me and tried to accept my collab, and he's like, you accepted it or not? Like, so that's why I didn't really like think like, yeah, Silas out of left field if he just randomly released that, but I thought it seemed like there was like more context to it, but obviously there was not.
I mean, there was banter in the comments. I saw it before I saw the post. Like, he said, rebuttal coming. He put it on his story. He said, rebuttal coming. And to me, that was like, oh, I'm going to post a video making fun of Drew's form. Not a 2-minute roast video.
No one expected it. Everyone commented like, what?
Yeah, well, like, the comments made it seem funny, messing fun with a homie. And the video and the actual rap made it seem like I got genuine issues with you, and I'm gonna air it out on the internet.
That might be it too. I don't know.
That's
And
that's
you
the
guys
end
got
of,
any
that's the
thoughts?
end of my take. But
Yeah,
Go
I'm
ahead, Garett.
similar to Jay Millie on it. It was really good. I was impressed that a disc golfer could put the bars together like that. I mean, it was good, but I don't know that it's hard to know without knowing their relationship outside of the videos we're looking at. I don't know if they talk to each other on the course a lot and everything's cool, or if they've had beef before. I really don't know. If they've had beef and it wasn't out of like good fun, it was pretty mean. There's a lot of mean stuff said in there. That's what diss tracks are for. But given the fact that it was just about Drew making fun of his form, when he has to know his form is good, right? So it's not really that mean. He knows his form is good. Everyone tells him his form's good. Drew making fun of it is just simple fun. Talking about him needing to propose to his girlfriend is pretty harsh. You don't really know what they're going through, but
I think
it's
that's
so
what
hard to
made
know
him
without
take it down.
context. Yeah, that was
I think
really
that
the
was the
only
comment.
one that was when that line came across. I was like, oh my god, like I shouldn't have told my friends. But it was good. I'll give Silas that. It was really good. I just don't know if it was if it was out of good fun or if it was out of true hate. So I'm excited to see. I assume there's going to be more talk about it soon.
I think it seems like it was out of good fun, but it was taken, because I agree
that's
with
what
that.
diss tracks
I
are
think
for.
that's
I mean, he did it like a diss track's supposed to be.
exactly.
But
so
Yeah, but
I
like
don't know.
Drew never necessarily agreed to a diss track.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
not like they started the beef like that hard.
Yeah, like if Drew was expecting a diss track, it's like, okay,
Yeah, like
good
we're going
fun.
at it.
But when he's like, he posts a little form fun of, and then he's
Yeah,
like, oh, rebuttal coming. He's like, oh, he's going to make fun of my form, or, how I
Yeah.
haven't won in a while, or my finish at Waco, or whatever. And then he drops it to, whatever, man.
Yeah.
My feelings would be destroyed. I would probably never show my face on the Pro Tour again.
Yep.
Yeah, for myself, I think Drew is a person that, like, public perception, like what we were talking about with Prodigy, anytime that he does something, I think it's under a microscope, just because I think he has a history of liking to push buttons and say things maybe that are maybe not like a little too far, but he's not afraid to hold back. And I agree that it felt like a joke at first, with his video. But the fact that Discmania like ran with disc golf? Like I feel like if they really were worried about it, they would try to not do something about it because it was a little bit too far. But they're trying to sell discs about it.
True.
So yeah, I feel like it could be curated, but yeah, he definitely said some things that are. But it's not like he has a history of doing something like that. Referring to Silas. Because like coming out the gates like that, yeah, that seems like way too far to go. Otherwise, but
it
might
be one of those things of oh gosh, I'm missing the words. They're generating beef for the PR.
Yeah,
kind of like what Logan Paul and his brother did for the longest time.
Yeah, they're like back.
Maybe they're homies. Back
referring to like my hardcore days, there were bands that would do that, like go on social media and create beef with each other, just to like so people would talk about it, and then all of a sudden, like boom, they'd be on tour together, just to like turn it into something like, whoa, we got to check this out. So it could be something like that. Who knows?
Yeah, at the end of the day, they're just gonna have to get on phone call, talk it out, and I think that's just the best way to move on from it. And yeah, it was definitely just like a funny little disc golf story that like no one.
I enjoyed it.
It wasn't on our bingo card for the disc golf season, so it was just kind of like what is happening? And then a diss track out of nowhere is like, wait, what? So it was kind of like our own Drake versus Kendrick Lamar in our small space. So yeah, hopefully everything's all good with that. Obviously, we don't want anyone having hard feelings and hitting each other in disc golf. So it's all good. Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, real quick, we'll just talk about the Swedish Open. We had some inner dialogue, and we're kind of taking a new approach, or at least I am, of less recap of the event, of like what went on, because you could just watch it and we do that on Stagger Stance, and more just kind of hot topics and opinions. So if you do enjoy us covering Pro Tour, don't worry, we're still going to cover it. It's just going to be more topic and a opinion based on storylines, kind of like rather than the news anchor report. It's more like, you know, Pardon the Interruption or Sports Nation or Around the Horn, just kind of giving our opinions. So first off, James Proctor wins his first Elite Series event at the Swedish Open. He was doing extremely well last year. Seemingly, I remember the start of the season last year, he was just like blistering hot. Like it was like, where did this guy come from? And he was named Comeback Player of the Year last year. And for the past 3 events in Europe, he's absolutely turned it on. He's finished 2nd, 3rd, and now securing his first Elite Series event. Yeah, anyone, just one of you, just give me opinions on James Proctor and what this means. Emmett, what this win means to him.
Dude, James Proctor's a beast. I mean, it's been a long time coming, but it seems like this year it seemed like he just wasn't like really doing too much. I'm sure like maybe he was on the periphery, but yeah, not popping off like last year. It felt like he was always on lead card
all the time.
Yeah, he I think it's great. I mean, he has the worst nickname in all of disc golf probably.
What is it?
But
the proctologist.
The proctologist, dude.
That's hilarious.
His game is so interesting to me because he stays, he said it himself, he's like one angle, just like slight hyzer and just change the disc, where like it's complete opposite of someone like Gannon Burr. And yeah, they both find success on the Pro Tour, which I think is kind of the coolest part about this sport. Just whatever your style is, like you can make it work.
Totally.
That's not a bad style of maybe I have to try that one angle. Just get so good at that angle and let the disc do the rest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so in the FPO side, we had Silva Saarinen winning the Swedish Open, and that's her 5th consecutive victory. 2 DGPT events and 3 silvers in that swing, which is very impressive. She wasn't on my radar at all until this year, until, you know, when Paul Cran signed MVP and then she signed MVP, and I was like, oh, like, you know, gotta pay attention and see how she does. But she seems to be obliterating right now. Even the likes of Henna, Ella Hansen, what's her name? Evelina, sorry. So she's dominating right now. My question to you guys is, do you think MVP, we're going to go to Jay Millie. Do you think MVP has the best team in disc golf right now?
I don't know, man. Like, probably not. I would say no. Like, yeah, she's dominating on the women's side, but I mean, there's always the argument of Kristen isn't playing right now. On top of that,
but I'm saying team in general, MPO and FPO, just like team.
Yeah, and I was about to move to MPO. Like, Simon has a win. Who else on MPO for MVP has a win this year?
This year, just Simon.
No one.
They also have Eagle.
And
no James.
Eagle hasn't really done very much so far. He's still figuring
James
it
Conrad
out.
too,
So, I mean, long term, yeah, maybe. Like, Silva's starting to show that she can win, and she's young. Paul hasn't figured out how to play on the Pro Tour, and he's really good. You know, we all know that. Eagle's really good. Simon's really good. Yeah, maybe long term. But I think Discmania has the best team on tour. Like, I mean, just the fact that you have Gannon, like, I don't know, man. Like, Gannon's just untouchable. And Silas and Alden and Gavin Babcock and, you know, FPO, Ella Hansen.
This isn't what you asked, but like, what do you think is was up with Alden right now? Because last year he was killing it. He was like a top 10, 15 player, and like this year he's just, I haven't heard his name, I think, at all. Do you think it's just like an adjustment period, or what?
He's releasing less vlogs.
Has he?
I think it seems like it. It might. I mean, getting used to new disc isn't like the easiest thing. He has a very specific type of game. It's like a chop game. I want to call it. It's like
chop game.
He does a lot of chopping with his backhand, chopping like annies and flexing and stuff like that. And he does also flip ups too. But I'm just saying it's like a kind of more unique style playing where it's like smooth yet kind of stabby, if that makes sense. So that he might just be going through. But last year I feel like it's obviously I think he did better last year, but it was kind of the same thing. He would never miss out of cash, but it was like he was never really, maybe once or twice, but he was never really in contention. It was kind of like 20th, 15th, 10th, 30th, 5th, like. So I don't know. I think he's still doing decent, but not as good as last year for sure.
Yeah, I like the Discmania take. I agree because
What do
on
you think,
paper it
Garett?
doesn't.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, Sajko. I didn't know you were gonna keep going. Go ahead, Sajko. I thought you were just saying I like the Discmania take. Go ahead, Sajko.
No, that was pretty much the end of the thought. You can go, Garett.
No, get Sajko. You go.
Oh, Ben.
Bro, I don't even remember I was on the roll and then it stopped.
Is he always like this, Sajko, when y'all hang out? Just put you on the back burner?
it's usually looking for Ben's discs. Is like half of us playing disc golf together.
Because he throws like 7 a hole.
That's not even kidding. Man just blasts through plastic.
It's the love for the game.
Yeah.
So I think MVP has the best disc sales team, and I think Discmania has the best performance team. So I mean, like Tim Milley said, based solely on Gannon Burr, I think he, him and Borrelli are obviously the two that people think are going to win at any given time. Gannon so far is just destroying it. So I'll give Discmania performance, MVP, disc sales. Which one would you rather have as a company? I think that would be a fun topic because that's I mean, I guess on the business side you want the disc sales, but you also want the performance for longevity. So Alden, by the way, I think his issue is his form is the type of form where you've just got to be on. Like he's got a lot, like you said, flip ups, force overs, choppy stuff that you're just not going to be on every single tournament, and then you're going to have those that you pop off. And I just think that's the kind of player he is, and it just hasn't happened yet.
Sajko, go ahead, give us your Discmania take. Come on, I know you remember it.
My Discmania take.
How you said
I straight
you
up
agree.
No, I was just saying that I thought it was a good one because Discmania, I think on paper is kind of the sleeper pick. Like you were talking about MVP is like, oh, is MVP the best one right now? And again, on paper, it looks like filthy, and it is, but we just haven't seen the results this year. Like, if anything, Silva is probably like carrying MVP on her back this year. Maybe not in terms of disc sales, obviously, but performance-wise, I mean, it's awesome to watch. That was it.
All right, sweet. We got to close this out. One last just point. Henna Blomroos, second time in a row at a Elite Series event in Europe, leads again after the second round and just squanders it, lets it go, kind of doesn't capitalize on her lead. Do we think we're going to see a win from her this year? Or is it kind of just like she's still going through those kind of woes of doing so well first few rounds and then kind of fizzling out to the final?
Doi. Yeah, she'll win. It's just a matter of time. I mean, she has everything there. Sure, the putt like sometimes is off, but she's gonna win. It's gonna happen. That's it.
You heard it here first.
Agreed.
Yeah, I would agree with Sajko. She's gonna win. She's not gonna win all of them. She's gonna win one probably. But
I need her to win one. I have a $20 bet with Matt Graham on her winning. So,
well, it happened. It happens fast. Like, look at Evelina. Everyone's been like, she can't putt. She can't putt. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, she's won three times this year.
Yeah,
exactly. AB this year, winning 3 times. So
I think it's one of the, I don't know if she'll win for a fact this year, but she's proven she can play at that level. You know, unless she has a major injury or changes teams, she's gonna get a win. It's just inevitable.
Sweet. Yeah, I agree. So that was the tour, the recap. Anderson, hope you liked it. Shout out for kind of spurring the conversation. Let us know what you thought. Any of y'all, if you kind of like that topic based, less recap. I think we're just gonna stick with it. regardless. But yeah, thanks for joining, Garett. Any last shout outs before we close out the podcast?
I mean, Mid America Open was the big one here in the United States. Freddie Meza was shredding. He ended up, I think, taking third on the final round. He didn't go so hot, but Chandler Kramer was up there. It was. I wish I don't know if anybody's covering that one on YouTube, but I'd love to have watched the Mid America Open.
I believe someone would have for sure.
Are they both Team Hooli?
No,
Sort
they're
of.
just good friends.
They're
They
just-
were,
they're
they
sort
were,
of team
but just people I respect a lot, and the turnout at Mid America Open was pretty good. So
Nice.
just another thing to cover. I like to see the you've got the top tier, the Gannon Burrs, Anthony Barellas, but then I think Mid America Opens where you can see that next level, figure out who's going to be the next, come up into that era, and give those guys a chance. So it's cool to see that sort of stuff too.
The growing pains of the DGPT, figuring out,
exactly,
figuring out how to work it all, get it all covered.
But no, thank y'all for having me on. I'm excited. I think this is a good time to come on, especially to talk about the 2-year anniversary that's coming out very, very soon. And make sure you follow Hooligan Discs and just appreciate everything. Sajko, Ben, Josh. Hopefully I can be on again. We can talk about it some more. Maybe the 3-year anniversary.
Absolutely when you quit your job.
When I quit my job, I'll get on. So.
Hey, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to that cash, baby. Oh, I can't wait. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Garett.
Actually, if you've gone this far, Garett he hasn't agreed to this yet. I just saw this. If you've gone this far, and first person to use after this podcast, use code Ben10, put in the notes. I listened to Funsie and I bought a disc. If you haven't bought a disc from Hooligan before, this is only for people that haven't bought a disc. And Garett will put in a dime, an additional dime. And
absolutely.
I will, if you need me to, I will pay for that dime as well. So,
no, I got it.
So yeah, anyone listen who hasn't tried out Hooligan, any of their discs, buy it, and Garett will put in a dime. Just put in the notes. I'm from Funsie. And then it's the first person. So if you're the third person, maybe we should just do the third person. No, we'll do the first.
Yeah.
Anyways,
first person.
Thanks for watching, y'all. See you later.
Funsie.
Peace out.
Funsie.
Yes, Garett.